Hello everyone, it's Slayer here, and today we're going to be looking at JackFrags' first gameplay impressions of Call of Duty's Cold War multiplayer. Let's get right into it.
Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Today we're taking a look at Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War gameplay. A big thanks to Activision for sponsoring this one and giving me access to the game. So I joined a remote play session a couple of weeks ago and was allowed to record everything on offer in this early multiplayer build of the game.
So he's starting off like pretty good. They gave him an early look. That's really nice of Activision. Let's see what he's got. I see some boats right off the bat. I saw him playing with some people. I wonder if it's like who he's playing with exactly. If it's other YouTubers, let's keep watching.
And in this vid, we're going to keep things at a high level, the basics, what the game is, how it...
This jet ski is awesome though. Any game with a jet ski, 10 out of 10. IGN, 5 out of 7.
Plays and some first impressions. So I played this on PC, maxed out the graphics, and was playing with and against console players. So yes, indeed, as with Modern Warfare and Warzone, this game will have cross-platform as well as cross-gen.
Oh, so there's cross-gen and cross-platform. Those are actually two great things because it means you can play with all your buddies no matter what platform they're on. That's a really good move on their part. I'm really happy about that. And I like the ship map. Any map on a ship, well, most maps on a ship that have been there over the past years, I've liked them quite a lot. Let's keep watching.
And what you're seeing here is a game mode called Combined Arms. This is Cold War's ground war mode, I suppose you could say, but this time it's only 24 players. And in this mode, there are usually 5 or 6 domination style capture points on a larger map with multiple vehicles to use.
Alright, so it looks like this is their new ground war game mode. You've got quite a lot of vehicles around. It appears that you have 3 domination points to take care of, and he says there's 24 players instead of, I think right now it's 36 players. So I'm hoping the maps are a little bit smaller to keep that action-packed gameplay, because if the maps are too big and you've got too few players, it slows down the pace of the game. And anybody who plays Call of Duty is definitely looking for something fast-paced.
Attack boats equipped with miniguns, jet skis, snowmobiles, and even tanks. Sadly, no helicopters apart from those that are in Scorestreaks. You'll of course notice the zip lines too on the Armada map here, useful for getting from ship to ship. Also, you can swim here too on the surface and underwater.
So it looks like they've added some interesting new movement mechanics. We've got the zip lines between the boats, and we've got the possibility of just kind of hopping in the water now. They've also upped the vehicle game. So we've got tanks first of all, and what else did they show? You have like these boats with the miniguns on them. Would be better if they had frickin' lasers on their heads, but you know, Dr. Evil reference there for anyone who watched Austin Powers, great movie. And speaking about the Scorestreaks, I think he's going to show us a little bit more about them later, so let's come back to that.
We're going to get into the nitty-gritty here first up though, the gameplay. Generally speaking, this plays very differently to Modern Warfare. To start with, it's not running on the same engine, and it feels much more like an old-school Call of Duty game. The time to kill is longer. There's no tactical sprint, there's no doors to open or close, no mounting. The level design is way simpler and scaled down too. Very obvious lanes and blocks there, let's say.
Alright, so a couple things here. First of all, there's no tactical sprint, which means that you've just got the regular sprint speed, like most Call of Duty games which have been released over the, I don't know, decades now that Call of Duty has been around. I like that personally. I think that there should just be one sprint mode, you know. Adding too much difficulty to the movement of the games kind of can mess up the flow a little bit, and you have to change your map design, and it just makes it a bit harder for the players to get used to everything. And when the new game releases every year, it's kind of nice to just have something that you can plug in, feels familiar, and you know kind of exactly how to move on the maps. Another thing he mentioned is that they're going back to their old school game design of the 3 lanes and the different blocks kind of everywhere. And from what I'm seeing, there's a bit of a graphics drop compared to Modern Warfare, which is a bit of a shame because Modern Warfare had really, really great graphics and audio design and animations as well. And to see them take a little step back is, you know, it's a shame, but at the end of the day, you play the game based on how fun it is, not on how great the graphics look. So I'm hoping that, you know, it more than makes up for it. And if you've got no doors, no tactical sprint, and we're back to the bare bones Call of Duty that we've all loved over the years, I think that's a really good move and a good concession to make. So let's give it a chance.
Modern Warfare featured this big parkour element where you could jump over a lot of roofs and find interesting routes into buildings and windows. That's almost non-existent in this game, although you can still mantle on a few things. The level design doesn't have the grandeur or cinematic appeal of some of the bigger Modern Warfare maps, let's say. But I do feel like that is on purpose. Whether you like that or not, of course, that depends on your preference. The class and loadout system then.
Yeah, so basically JackFrags agrees with what I said before, so that's great because he's one of the biggest YouTubers. Look up to him. Feels good. So I think he's going to show us the class setups now. This is going to be interesting.
Gunsmith returns, but this time there are some key differences to how attachments affect your gun. You're going to have to learn a few new things. Suppressors in this game do remove you from the minimap in multiplayer, but they also reduce your damage, so that's your trade-off. One thing that I appreciate about this new Gunsmith take is that it actually tells you the percentage value of whatever stat it's changing, unlike in Modern Warfare, where you just get a plus or a minus, so it's a bit ambiguous, and there are also hidden values too.
Okay, right off the bat, wow. First of all, I don't know why they don't always do it like this. The fact that we now know in percentage terms exactly how every little aspect of our gun is being affected when we put an attachment on is absolutely brilliant. I 100% stand behind that, and I'm so looking forward to building classes in this game, especially now that we have the suppressor, which keeps you off the map all the time again. We've got percentages to know exactly how the attachments affect you, so when they make a patch, no more hidden changes, which, you know, Modern Warfare was really nice, and it's really good that they kept trying to maintain the gun balance, but it was a bit frustrating at times because it felt like every 2 weeks they would change like how all the guns felt, how they all played, and most of the time these were hidden changes, so we didn't even have patch notes to kind of base our assumptions around. And once we'd figured out exactly what they'd change, a new wave of changes was there, and it was like you never 100% knew how exactly each gun was working compared to how it was working before, and this system with just hard percentages, way better. So well done, Treyarch. I'm assuming it's Treyarch who's making this.
So as you can see, as standard you can add a maximum of 5 attachments on your gun, choosing from optic, muzzle, barrel, body, stock, magazine and handle. But if you equip the gunfighter wildcard, you can have up to 8 attachments on your gun. So if you want to build an absolutely insane primary weapon but lose out on the other wildcards, then that's an option for those players. Meta weapon builds in this game will be insane.
So I don't know how wildcards work. I assume it was in one of the Call of Duties I didn't play, but I'm just assuming they're perks. Please correct me in the comments down below if that's wrong. So if you can trade out one perk for a gunfighter perk, as he explained, it gives you 8 attachments to use instead of just the standard 5 attachments. I think that's going to open up the guns for really interesting combinations, and that's going to be great from a YouTuber's perspective to play around with the guns a ton more than usual. And it's also going to give players the chance to kind of make really interesting weapons when they want. I think that's a great move. Sometimes you don't want to use all 3 perks and you'd rather slap some extra attachments on the gun. So that's a brilliant move. I think that's a great perk to have.
Important to note, you can carry a shotgun as a secondary without needing overkill, which in this game is a wildcard called Lawbreaker. Most of the typical Black Ops perks you would expect are here too.
Yeah, so it's nice that they put shotguns as secondaries now.
I think one of the most noticeable though will definitely be Ninja, allowing you to sprint quietly, essentially replacing Dead Silence, which in Modern Warfare was a rechargeable field upgrade. So there's lots of meta shifting changes here. Tac Mask.
They made Ninja a perk again. 10 out of 10. The fact that it was a field upgrade was one of the most contested design choice changes that they've made in this game, and I'm glad actually that they decided to go back to making it a wild card or a perk. That's a brilliant move.
Pretty much completely nullifies the effects of flashes and stuns as well, which is quite different to the anti-flash stun perk in Modern Warfare. That will be quite a big deal in MP. In this build of the game, there were 3 assault rifles, 3 SMGs, 2 tac rifles, 2 LMGs, and 2 snipers as primaries. You've got 4 field upgrades that recharge over time too. A few different options there. And I don't think that I saw any glint on sniper scopes either. So
it seems like we gotta remember this is pretty much just an alpha version of the game. So obviously the full game's gonna have way more weapons than this. But it seemed like they had a pretty healthy balance. And there still seem to be field upgrades, which is interesting. So we can see here that there's a jammer, which will, I guess it works a bit like a counter UAV. It just kind of disrupts the map of the people around you. There's a SAM turret, which is nice, a proximity mine. You know, I have mixed feelings about claymores and bouncing betties and proximity mines. And let's see what the field mic does. Okay, and the field mic deploys a recording device that highlights enemy sounds on your minimap. So I don't know if this is kind of an area of affecting, that you like place it and it kind of highlights enemies which are around you. Maybe it works like that, we'll find out, but could be interesting to use.
I think they will absolutely dominate in multiplayer. As I just mentioned, score streaks are back. You gain score streak points in the usual fashions by stringing kills together, but this time around you can also accrue points for those by being a team player and completing objectives, scoring points. Artillery strikes on the Armada level can be quite effective, doing some serious damage there. Other options are the RCXD, the spy plane, napalm strike, air patrol, war machine, attack helicopter, and chopper gunner.
Okay, let's stop right here for a second and go over those perks real quick. So we've got all kinds of perks, and it seems like a pretty standard amount of, a standard amount of score streaks. But what I really like is that they made it score streaks again. So if you get like kill or something like that, then of course you're going to get points for it. But if you as well do good things on the map, like you capture a flag or something like that, that's also going to count towards it. And I feel like that kind of rewards people for being team players, and that's always a good thing too. So to kind of like merge those systems together within the game, I think that's a really positive thing, because you can have someone who's just focused on the objective, who really contributes a lot to the team as well as always having the main slayers on the team. And yeah, they both get equally rewarded for their roles, because they do play both pretty much an equally important role in the game. So let's keep going.
There are several different operators here that you can choose from too, as well as your character model. As for game modes in the build that I played, well, classic COD modes are back, such as Kill Confirmed, TDM Domination, and Hardpoint. There's a new 6v6 round-based game mode too called VIP. One team is assigned a VIP and has to escort them to one of two potential exfil locations.
So we have the standard game modes, but this VIP one actually looks really interesting. I've played it a couple of times in paintball. But basically we played one that's called, well, we called it President. And basically both teams elect one guy on their team who's the president, and it's like secret who it is. And you basically have to protect the president for the whole game and try to take out the other one. So that's basically, I guess, how this VIP works a bit, except there's also the element of you have to get him to the destination. So that can be really interesting to play, especially if you've got a small squad going. You can all play this together, and I think it's going to lead to some really interesting teamwork and tactics. So I'm looking forward to this one, actually.
This game mode has downs as well as revives, potentially becoming the main competitive mode for Cold War. I have to say though, I did not enjoy this game mode at all. On first impressions, I thought it was kind of bad, and I don't think it's a good alternative or replacement for S&D. And wrapping things up, like I said, I wanted to...
So let's hope this doesn't replace Search and Destroy, because by now Search and Destroy is a classic. There are many people who play only Search and Destroy. But I still think that this game mode sounds interesting. Jack didn't seem to like it that much. And let's see when the game comes out. I'm always like, give it a chance, play it for yourself, see what happens. And maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is.
Keep it simple. I'd say that's all you need to know for now. My raw impressions so far, based on a few hours, as I mentioned, it is stripped back a lot. I do think that's a purposeful decision by the developers, but my main concern is that perhaps they've gone a bit too far with it. If you love the old school Black Ops games, honestly, I think you'll be all about this and you'll really enjoy it. But for newer COD players, especially those that play a lot of Modern Warfare and Warzone and other modern tactical FPS games, this could come across as a downgrade and perhaps lacking some depth. The animations, I don't think they were as smooth or as polished as Modern Warfare. Also, the sound design in general, I felt like the game was lacking a bit of ambience. The gunshots and explosions reminded me of old school Call of Duty when they sounded a bit more like fireworks. Footstep sounds, though, actually good. I could hear where people were. Big improvement over Modern Warfare and currently Warzone.
Okay, let's stop here for a second. So, like I said earlier, I did notice that the graphics and animations and stuff like that was a bit of a step down from Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare set the bar really, really, really high. The only thing that I would say against Modern Warfare was that we should have had a slider to adjust how loud the gunfire is, basically, because the gunfire and the footsteps were created to be at the same frequency, so there was no way to kind of increase footsteps without increasing the sound of gunfire. And that just led to kind of an unpleasant playing experience, because ideally you set up your mic so that you hear footsteps more than all the other sounds. But the thing is, gunfire is probably, besides explosions, the loudest sound you can have in an FPS. And so when you try to increase footsteps, you also increase the gunfire sound, and it just kind of like made the audio mixing really tough. And maybe that's different in this game. According to Jack, it's an improvement, and so I'm looking to that. But like I said earlier, I'll say it again. Sure, the graphics might not be on the same level, but it does seem like that was a conscious decision to go back a bit to the old school Call of Duty that we all play and adore and, have really fond memories of. So let's keep watching.
It's definitely going to take some time to get used to this game. I think ultimately this will be a really Marmite COD game. I need to play it more though to really get a better understanding of things. Maybe adjust my playstyle a bit, treat it differently, maybe a bit more like a old school arena game. And I will be streaming on YouTube about 30 minutes after this video goes live. I'll be looking at chat and answering any questions that you guys have about the game. So if anything wasn't clear in this video, or you'd like me to demonstrate something live, come over and I'll see if I can help. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How are you feeling about this based on the footage and information? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. I'm going to leave you with a couple minutes of highlights from my play sessions so you can just get some raw, unfiltered gameplay. Make your own mind up. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, so if you guys made it to this part of the video, I just want to say, for the most part, I agree with Jack. I'm looking forward to playing this game. I think it's going to be really fun and enjoyable. And yeah, if you made it this far and I've earned it, please feel free to subscribe. And if you could like the video, that would really help me out. And yeah, have a nice day, guys. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.